Hello again, class. Welcome to Weekly Rough Rider Americana. I am your host, Teddy Worldsvelt, and today we are going to cover the Statue of Liberty, a very important monument to Americans. First of all, if I pronounce these names wrong, I do apologize, since I don't speak French. But let's continue. The Statue of Liberty was in fact constructed in France. Why, you might ask? The Statue of Liberty was a gift from the French people commemorating the alliance of France and the United States during the American Revolution. The Franco-American alliance goes all the way back to 1778, where the United States and the Kingdom of France became allies. In fact, this alliance exists to this very day. In 1865, Edouard de la Boulaye, a French political thinker, U.S. Constitution expert, and abolitionist, proposed that a monument be built as a gift from France to the United States. This also was built to honor the work of President Abraham Lincoln and the United States' devotion to freedom. Eugène Villette-le-Duc, born on January 21, 1814 in Paris, France, was the first architect hired to design the internal structure of the Statue of Liberty. Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi actually designed the Statue of Liberty. Early in his career, he had actually studied art, sculptures, and architecture, so he seemed like the perfect man for the job. Here is a picture of him in his studio. He was a man very dedicated to his work and to the creation of what would become the Statue of Liberty. Another prominent French architect and structural engineer, Alexandre Gustave Eiffel, was the second designer of the internal structure of the Statue of Liberty. Eiffel was in fact the same person who designed, you guessed it, the Eiffel Tower, currently in Paris, France. The Statue of Liberty would have to be disassembled, taken apart, put into smaller pieces, and then sent to the United States, where it would then be reassembled in its current position. The Statue of Liberty is close to Ellis Island. Ellis Island is where many new immigrants, at this time mainly from Europe, arrived in the United States. This statue would show these new immigrants, these new Americans, of what America represents, a land of freedom and a land of opportunity. Now, there might be some questions about the Statue of Liberty. Fortunately, there are answers. Like, what is the Statue of Liberty made out of? It's actually made out of copper. Now, why is the Statue of Liberty green? The statue's copper has naturally oxidized. That is where metal reacts to exposure from the elements, such as rain, to form its green coating. Now, how tall is the Statue of Liberty? The Statue of Liberty is in fact 305.1 feet tall, from the ground to the tip of the flame. And it's the height of a 22-story building. And in 1886, it was the tallest structure in New York. On October 31st, 1984, the Statue of Liberty was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The significance of this means that not only Americans, but the world as a whole recognizes the importance of the spectacular monument. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. I have been your host, Teddy Worldsvelt, and this has been your weekly Rough Rider Americana.